We hear all the time about vitamin C, D, and iron, but what about the unsung heroes of our health? Well, today we're going to put a spotlight on two really powerful nutrients you might not have heard much about, choline and inositol. They might sound a little complex, but I promise, their benefits for our bodies are surprisingly straightforward and powerful, especially when they work together. So let's get to know them. If you've been on a journey to find better hormonal balance, or maybe you're trying to give your metabolism a little helping hand, or just want to feel more in tune with your body, please know you are so not alone. We're going to explore what the science says about two specific nutrients that could be a really key piece of that puzzle for you. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get to know choline and inositol one-on-one. Then, we'll look at why they're so much more powerful together and dive into the key benefits. After that, we'll check out which foods you can find them in, and we'll wrap up with a really important look at dosage and safety. Sound good? Let's get started. All right, first things first, let's properly meet our essential nutrients. What in the world are choline and inositol? Just imagine them as two specialists on your body's internal team, and each one has a really critical job to do. So on one side, you've got choline, which is this total powerhouse for supporting your liver and your brain. And on the other side, you have inositol, which acts like a vital messenger, helping to manage hormones and signals between your cells. They've got different jobs for sure, but as we're about to see, they work together beautifully. Let's zoom in on choline for a second. It's what we call an essential nutrient, which just means our bodies can't make enough of it by themselves. We have to get it from our food. And it's a real multitasker. It helps build the protective walls around our cells, and it's also used to make something called acetylcholine, which is basically a chemical messenger that's absolutely vital for memory and muscle function. And now for inositol. You might hear it called vitamin B8 sometimes, but it's not really a vitamin. It's a kind of sugar-like compound that your body can actually make on its own. Its main claim to fame is its role as a messenger. It's a key player in how your body responds to insulin and how your cells talk to each other, which has this huge ripple effect on both your metabolism and your hormones. So yeah, they're pretty impressive on their own. But the real magic, the real story here, is how they work together. This is where their synergy creates even bigger benefits for our health. Here's how their teamwork breaks down. For our brains, you've got choline helping with memory, while inositol supports mood. For our metabolism, choline helps the liver deal with fat, while inositol helps our body use insulin better. And for hormonal balance, their combined effort is especially helpful for things like menstrual regularity, which makes them a really incredible duo. And this teamwork isn't just a nice idea. It actually translates into real, evidence-backed benefits for your health. So let's take a look at what the research has to say. Okay, let's look at the big ones. For hormonal health, especially for conditions like PCOS, studies have shown inositol can really support menstrual regularity. For metabolism, research points to it helping with things like cholesterol levels. And when it comes to your liver, well, choline is the absolute star of the show, working to keep fat from building up there. And here is a really powerful example from the research. A review of several clinical trials found that taking just 4 grams of something called myo-inositol every day was linked to a significant drop in cases of gestational diabetes for pregnant women. This just goes to show you that these nutrients can have a truly meaningful impact on our health. I just love this quote from Dr. Eric Berg because it's so simple and easy to remember. Choline is a super liver cleaner. It perfectly captures its most important job, helping your liver process and move fats around and preventing them from getting stuck where they shouldn't be. Okay, so we see the benefits, right? The next logical question is, where can we actually find them? Let's talk about getting these powerful nutrients straight from your food. For choline, some of the best sources out there are egg yolks, liver, and fatty fish like salmon. And if you're plant-based, soybeans and quinoa are fantastic choices. For inositol, you want to look for fiber-rich foods, so think beans, brown rice, citrus fruits, nuts, and other whole grains. It's just wonderful to know you can support your body with these everyday foods. Okay, and now we need to have a really important and careful conversation about supplements. If you are thinking about supplementing, it is absolutely essential to approach it responsibly. So let's talk about dosage and safety. So what do the numbers look like? Well, for choline, a good daily target is around 425 milligrams for women and 550 for men. For inositol, the studies that focus on metabolic and hormonal support often use between 2 to 4 grams a day. And it's also really interesting that for PCOS, a specific 40-to-1 ratio of 2 types of inositol, myo and dechiro, has been shown in research to be especially effective. Of course, we have to be upfront about potential side effects. With inositol, the ones that are most commonly reported are generally pretty mild. Things like a bit of nausea, maybe some digestive upset, or headaches. But, and this is so important, here's the crucial context for that. These side effects are really uncommon, and they typically only show up at very high doses. We're talking 12 grams or more a day, which is way, way higher than the usual therapeutic dose. So at standard doses, it's generally very well tolerated. And that brings us to our most important takeaway of all. Please think of this as a starting point for a conversation, not as a prescription. Your health journey is your own. Before you make any changes, please talk to your doctor or a healthcare provider that you really trust. They can help you figure out what's right for you and your body. Maybe the question isn't just, what supplement should I take? But what new conversation can I start about my health?